That's a very long story, but the music is pretty long, so we have to set up a couple of places for music. And I'll tell you a little bit about this. Wonderful violinist. And you know, these stories are not just told with words. You probably know that in the other, that the story is also told in the music. If you listen to the music closely, you'll hear what is happening in the story. Now, this story was written, as I said, a long time ago when I was a little boy, and I love this story. It's written by composer Alan Ridout. He wrote the music, but the words were before that for the book. It's called Ferdinand the Bull. Now, Ferdinand was quite different from Baba the elephant. I mean, bull, you'd know the difference between a bull and an elephant, you saw one. You never saw an elephant in a bull ring. No. No.
Elephants play water and the sponge bulls don't do that.
That's right. How do you know that?
Bulls have points.
Hey, people lived in a zoo. How do you know those things? Wow. Good. Okay. But Ferdinand, he was a very wise little bull. You know something that he knew that all the other bulls didn't seem to know? And that is that you don't have to be like everybody else. You know, you can just be the way you are. And so we're going to find that out in the stories. Listen. Now the first part, before the words start, is just to kind of give you an idea of where Ferdinand lived and what was going on. And then the story will start. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull and his name was Ferdinand. The other little bulls that Ferdinand grew up with, they would run and jump and butt their heads together. Not Ferdinand. He liked to just sit quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot in the pasture under a cork tree. And he would sit in its shade all day long and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, worried about him. Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head, she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. I like it better here, where I can sit just quietly and smell the flowers. And because his mother was understanding, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew and grew until he was very big and strong. All the other bulls who had grown up and gotten strong with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day long. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight in the bullfights in the big city of Madrid. Ferdinand. He still liked to sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. One day, 5 men came in funny hats to pick the biggest, the fastest, the roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. And all the other bulls ran around snoring and butting and leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very, very strong and fierce and picked them for the bullfights. But Ferdinand knew they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care, so he just went out to his favorite cork tree and sat down. But he didn't look where he was sitting. And instead of sitting in the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Well, think for a minute. If you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? Wow, did that hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting and butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. 5 men saw Ferdinand doing that, and they all shouted with joy. Hurrah! There's the one! Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, they said. Just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. What a day it was at the bullfights. Flags were flying, bands were playing, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. There was a big parade into the bull ring. First came the bandolieros. Next came the picadores. Next came the matador, the proudest of all. And then came the bull. Who do you think that was? Ferdinand! And Ferdinand went to the middle of the bull ring. And everyone thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he saw the flowers in the lovely lady's hair, he just sat down and smelled. He wouldn't fight no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the bandolieros were very angry. And the picadores were even angrier. And the matador was so angry because he couldn't show off. He cried. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And he is sitting there still, under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers, just quietly. He is very happy.